Today we're going to talk about games that have stopped working. If you watched the last of this sort of thing, it was a white panel thing called Dreamcast Don't Like Worms. You will have noticed that the game Worms on the Dreamcast does no longer work. Got 2 copies, neither of which... I think I've got a copy on the PlayStation 1, so I can play this if I play my cards right, but there we go. So that's one game that doesn't work, but it's becoming a problem. And it's because it's on physical media. And the discs are starting to break, the cartridges are no longer working. It's the connectors mostly on the consoles that go first. But with obviously like CDs and stuff, once they're gone, that's it. You can't really get them back. Things like cartridges, you can mess around with where the pins connect. But again, once the actual data on it is physically gone, what are we going to do? I mean, downloads, yes, they're becoming more popular. But again, it's only a digital code or something. Once that, it's not going to last forever. So, this begs the question: what are collectors going to do? I mean, yes, we collect it. We don't just collect it for the privilege of having the game. If we did that, we'd all be downloading everything again. It's the physically having something and like having it on a shelf, nicely laid out, all the boxes in order and all the bright colours and all the packaging's great and everything. So what are we going to collect in the future? What? Is it going to be your Facebook page is going to tell you what you've got? I don't know. Anyway, I like physical copies of stuff. I like to actually hold the product in my hand. The most recent game that stopped working, and I'll show you it now, is this one, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. So this game came out in late 2006, I would have thought, because that's what they do with the numbers. So this game it's 8 years old, and this is the most recent one that stopped working. And if you look at the disc, it's a little bit scratched, granted, but generally I've seen a lot worse that will work. So I don't know what the problem is. If it's just too old, I mean, you can feel it now. It feels like it's deteriorating. Whether it's a cheaper version of the disc or whatever, but you know, it's not in that bad condition, but it's not working anymore. So that's one that's gone. It's not a great game. I hardly played it, to be honest, but it doesn't work. It doesn't matter what Xbox I use it on. Doesn't matter what I do to it. If I polish it, whatever, it doesn't work. I've tried everything. Doesn't work. Dead. And then obviously I'll show you the Worms game on the Dreamcast. 2 copies which don't work. That can't be coincidence, can it? That's got to be something to do with the makeup of the disc. It's got to be. Or 1 copy will work. I managed to create some Worms and then it just stopped. I don't know what happened, but it just died. So both copies are gone. And again, the disc itself, it's fairly okay, and the other one is even better condition. So this must be something about, again, he's used a cheaper plastic. I don't know, a cheaper way of putting it on the disc. I just don't know. This is a later disc, I think, as well. No, because it was only like 2 or 3 years at Dreamcast, so they're all relatively the same time. So 1999, this one. But, you know, that's 15 years old, and it's not working, whereas all the NES games are relatively okay. Relatively. Right, so that's that. And the other one, which I wanted to do a series on but didn't work, so ended up having to do something else, was Sonic Adventure 2. And again, we'll have a look at the disc. The case is broken, by the way. That's another thing. Plastic cases, if you break them, you're a bit fucked. Because what do you do to replace it? It's the same with the cardboard and the NES. It's like... And the N64 and the SNES, they all use cardboard boxes. These sort of cases are great. They're sturdy, they don't break. You can smash them about a bit, and they're in exactly the same condition. These, however, you drop them, you step on them, and they're pretty much fucked. So I've got a fair few that are in terrible condition. And also the plastic in the middle. Oh, well, that just fucked anyway. They're starting to... The teeth in the middle that hold the disc in, some of those have gone. And that's the case in all of them. And I think this one I stood on. So it shows you how flimsy these cases are. But they're cool. I love the design of the case. Got the front opens to get the disc, and then the back opens, which doesn't really, to get the manual and stuff. So I like that. I like that a lot. That's cool. It's not that cool, but I think it is. I think it's cool. I'm a fool. Okay, so let's have a look at Sonic Adventure 2. Now, there's a few bits of dirt on it because I just dropped it. But this looks like there shouldn't be any problems with it at all. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely, well, not perfect, but as good as it's going to get. And it just doesn't like it. I don't know why. And it's not the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast works perfectly. It's the discs. So, shame. And, you know, these are relatively new consoles. Well, newish. Disc-based consoles, I think, they should all still work fairly well, but it's starting to get problems. And it's a shame. It is a shame, because we're going to lose some of these games. Obviously, that you can get on the GameCube, so that's not too much of a problem. And other stuff you can get most anywhere. But like console-specific titles, where else are you going to get them? Where else can you play them? If they don't do a virtual console version of it, what do you do? What do? You fuck. If you want to play it, how you can emulate it, of course, but that's not strictly legal, is it? Anyway, then we go back in time, and this game stopped working, and I'm very disappointed. I mean, look at the colour of it for a start. This has stopped working, and I was going to do a series on this, and then it just wouldn't. And it is Super Mario World on the SNES, and it's a classic game, but it doesn't work anymore. It's just stopped. Whether it's overuse, just the time has just come for it to die. But I'm lying, really. It does work. It does work if you do a very specific thing, which is use a Game Genie. And basically, it's got to do with something to do with the connectors and the SNES. They're not lining up properly. So what the Game Genie does is it pushes in, and it basically pushes a firmer connection onto the SNES. And then you put that in the top of the Game Genie, and that seems to do it. And it's probably ruining the thing, but it is the only way to get it work. It's a similar story with the NES. Most of the games on that will only work with the Game Genie put in, because it just pushes more contact onto the connectors. But it's going to fuck it up in the long run. But those games are going to die. These cartridge-based games are going to die the first. Not just because they're the oldest, but because of the way they work. They are going to die. The NES itself still works fine-ish. It could probably do with a bit of tender loving care and having the connectors realigned and stuff, and then it probably would work even better. And you can get that done. So there, yeah. There's a few games that don't work. There are others that I've got that are starting to play up that can get them to work. But it's mostly these consoles, the NES, the SNES, the ones that are used the most. NES, SNES, Dreamcast, the Xbox, obviously, many problems with that. I don't think in 10 years' time we're going to still be playing on it, because it's going to be fucked. Because they overheat, parts are cheap. I don't know. But yeah, that's a few things. You know, I was going to play that on the show, I was going to play that on the show, I was going to play that on the show, I was going to play that on the show, but none of them work, so I can't. So, great, thanks show, thanks for telling me all the games that don't work. But yeah, thank you. Put in the comments below if you've got a game that doesn't work, and why it doesn't work, if you want to. But yeah, so there we go. Load of shit. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Bye.